So eventually I just called Barbara Matera myself and I said, listen, I know you don't need me, but I'll volunteer. I'll come in 1 day a week and I'll sweep the floor. I'll pick up pins. But then when you are busy, I'll at least know where you keep stuff and I'll be there. So you can say, hey, you start working. She said, okay, come in tomorrow. Now this was, and I learned this later, this was a very kind of a bad thing she did because it was a union shop. And the fact that somebody was willing to work for nothing was like not.
How else would somebody who is wanting to get into the game, it's almost as though you're preventing any competition from moving its way up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just did what I did. I didn't know what the rules were. I didn't know how to go about it. I was just a girl from New Jersey who was a home sewer, totally self-taught and everything. So that's all. I didn't know anything. So I just did what I felt like doing. And if somebody didn't like it, screw them. I don't really care. It was like that.
You did an internship. You proved that you had something to give. And the person then saw somebody that they could teach, also use as an employee to produce things for them. And they hired you. And that's the way that things normally work. But when you have a top-down union that prevents any competition from arising, it becomes much more difficult for somebody like you, right?
And the thing about the unions are that they really protect mediocrity. Everybody gets the same raise. If when you've been there a year, you get X amount of raise. No, but in other words, your employer doesn't say, wow, that person's a star or a star in the making or, whatever. And she just performed. And so I'm going to reward her with X, because you can't do that. You have to treat everybody. You have to give everybody X then. And that's, it's totally wrong. It's just, I just don't get it. I'm not a joiner. That's all. What was so interesting to me to see that during the pandemic or after the whatever.
Well, start and just, yeah, go ahead.
They stopped supporting their employees.
How did they stop supporting their employees?
Well, they said, if you don't get all these shots, you can't work. Well, that's the job of the union, is to protect the labor of their members, not just the members they like or the members who had a chest x-ray every year or whatever kind of ridiculous. Not only the members who voted for Biden, but all the members, even the members who voted for Trump, even the members you don't like. The union, and the thing that I don't like about it is that it supports lousy workers. It treats everyone the same. And yet, all of a sudden, it made this, we're going to protect your labor, but we're not going to protect your labor.
So they chose whose labor to protect by virtue. The filter was the vaccination.
Absolutely.
And
sure.
what right did they have to do this?
Well, it doesn't, to me, they had no right. To me, they've lost all. Listen, I didn't think they had much legitimacy to begin with, but when they did that, I was like, oh my God. Now they have no legitimacy as far as I'm concerned. They've lost the moral high ground. They should have said to the government, hey, no, we support our workers. That's our job. We are not here to enforce your public health policy.
What happened to those union members, if there were any that you know of, who refused to get vaccinated?
Well, some of them, my boyfriend retired. Now, he didn't really tell anybody that he wasn't getting vaccinated, but he just retired. One guy, when they were filming the musical Diana for Netflix, and they all had to live in this hotel, and they couldn't see anybody, and they couldn't go home to their families at night. For the whole time they worked on this production, they were in a hotel, which is like, if you can't leave it, it's a prison. No matter, even if it's beautiful, even if it's 4-star, it doesn't matter. If you can't say, I'd like to see my wife tonight, you might as well be in jail.
Yeah.
So So this guy, and he's a house head, he was a head carpenter in a theater, and those people are unfireable. They are you cannot get rid of them ever. It doesn't matter if they're horrible. Once they have that job, they have it until they decide to give it up or die or something. And he just thought, screw this shit. I'm going to my favorite coffee shop that I go to every morning and I'm having my breakfast that I want. And he left the building and they fired him instantly. And I thought, the world is totally, this is like, what? You couldn't fire a house head if they killed the leading lady right before the show went on. I mean, you couldn't do it. And they just fired him for like coffee. Really, it was, and he said, hey, I'm out of here. And he left. And he called my boyfriend, I mean, I don't know, maybe a year ago. And he said that his sons went to Florida to ride it out and they'll come back when the mandates are over or whatever. And he also knew somebody who like died after they had the vaccine. And he was like, I'm not, I think that maybe he got vaccinated because he had a friend in a nursing home and he wanted to see him, but he was not, his sons weren't getting vaccinated. And he knew people who had died right after having the shots of like blood clots and stuff, the usual like that.